Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 most rage-inducing bosses in Mortal Kombat. Now in the fighting game, a boss has to understandably be quite challenging. You would need to master your character so that you could learn your combos to finally take them down. But what kind of happens when that doesn't essentially all go to plan? Well, we get these top 5 characters here. Mortal Kombat has been notorious for having extremely overpowered boss characters and essentially the stuff of nightmares. Now in saying that, some are stronger than others, but here I won't be grading them by their power level, but more by the cheap kind of BS they can pull off in combat, which does mean for the most part I'll be taking into account a lot of gameplay here. The crazy unfair stuff they can pull off, the stuff they can do in the midst of combat, and just the overall way they kind of just destroy your soul from the inside out. I was never quite the same at the age of 7. Anyway, for this list there is kind of a criteria. The cheapness, like I've said, also a kind of more technical aspect to it. What about them makes them so incredibly overpowered? And what stuff do they do that has me wake up in the middle of the night with a cold sweat? For this list I'll also be excluding any crossover or spin-off games, as I kind of just want to strictly have it just be the main villains we see from Mortal Kombat. Now on that note, let's actually get onto the list. Now at number 5, we have Blaze from Armageddon. Now Blaze wasn't essentially anything too special. If anything, out of all of the bosses in Mortal Kombat, he does come into the very kind of bog standard realm. He wasn't really that overpowered. Sure, he was tough to beat, but Blaze himself didn't essentially pose that much of a challenge. The main reason why he's actually here on this list is just vastly due to his design. It's pretty damn cool, and I do like the whole kind of crazy pyromancer character. It's a pretty cool idea on paper. Now in terms of gameplay, there's nothing special about Blaze. He essentially fights like a bog standard boss character would in this rendition of Mortal Kombat, and I guess vastly due to that he's just kind of here. I could have easily switched him out for someone like Goro or Kintaro just due to character design. Now if you were to play through Armageddon, I would most likely say that you would probably defeat Blaze in one go. He's nothing too extravagant or too special, so you won't be losing your mind just yet. Now at number 4, we have the Dragon King Onaga. Stepping into the irritating territory, a lot of people found Onaga a much greater threat than Blaze, and this was in fact vastly due to his arsenal. Being able to control a lot of space, as well as having an unblockable ground pound, Onaga covered a fair few areas in which the player could struggle to kind of get in. Now in saying that, he wasn't completely invincible. He didn't have any armor, and didn't have super crazy damage or hit stun. So Onaga himself, although a challenge, isn't the most outrageous boss in Mortal Kombat. He'd probably annoy you if you couldn't get in, but once you kind of get into his face and start applying damage, you'll have no trouble with kind of bashing his face in. Now the reason I kind of put him above Blaze here is not only because of difficulty, but the kind of unique and original design he had. We haven't quite seen a being like him, and he had a lot more build up than Blaze had. Although Blaze was kind of like this fortune and something that needed to be acquired by Taven or Dagon, Onaga subtly worked behind the lines to try and become the one being, and essentially pretty much destroy the entire universe. So in that aspect as well, although I'm not solely basing it on it, Onaga definitely comes out on top of Blaze here. Now at number 3, and this is the most recent one, Corrupted Shinnok. Now I myself have not had a lot of trouble with this character, but boy does he have some cheap stuff on him. Outside of his pretty badass design, Corrupted Shinnok is just disgusting. Since the new timeline was rebooted, all bosses now seem to have armor. This includes Corrupted Shinnok. So if you press a button and he does a special attack, you're going to eat some damage. Lined it up with an overhead that juggles, and the unblockable beam that fires from his chest, he's one cheap SOB. But he isn't quite unstoppable. You see, if you get in and you're well aware of his tools, you can in fact avoid a lot of his strength, which will eventually lead to your victory. However, in saying that, this guy takes major reduced damage. I believe only 2/3 of the original and normal damage in the game. But yeah, point being, Corrupted Shinnok is where the bosses in the game start to become fairly cheap. He most certainly has some disgusting tools that were influenced by Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 9. Now some of you actually struggled with Corrupted Shinnok, you're gonna hate the next two that are here, because they are most certainly worse. So yeah, Corrupted Shinnok. I would say that this character more or less drives you up the wall and can get you pretty damn salty, but not enough to the point where your sanity kind of snaps. That's for number 2 here. And speaking of number 2, we have Motaro. Oh my god, this character. Back in Mortal Kombat 3, Motaro could give Shao Kahn a run for his money. This character literally had every single tool in the world, along with the fact that he had crazy damage output. It was simply insane. One hit would destroy a quarter of your life bar. Why did they think this was a good idea? Now what I meant at the very beginning when I said he has every single tool in the game, I mean he has projectiles, ridiculous damage, stuff to kick you away, along with a teleport. And with a character that can essentially kill you in 4 hits, that's just madness. Don't worry folks, it gets a lot better. Just when you think he couldn't be more overpowered, he has the ability to automatically reflect projectiles. Sorry Sub-Zero fans, freezing your opponent and uppercutting them will not win you this match. You will simply freeze yourself and cry in pain. I believe this is where a lot of hate for Motaro comes from. The fact that he can simply reflect projectiles back. It somewhat feels like you're shooting yourself in the foot at that point. And along with the crazy damage and just general BS, the last thing you actually want to feel is the fact that you screwed over yourself. Now at number 1, and this should have been fairly obvious as he's featured at my number 1 place a fair few times now, Shao Kahn. This guy was the epitome of cheap in Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, and I would easily choose this version over the new version because at least in the new version you have a chance. The old version just had cheap stuff, the most famous one being that shoulder charge. If you were caught pressing buttons, you would be stunned for a fair few seconds, which would lead to you probably getting hit and stunned again, followed by that again, and just rinse and repeat till your life bar is basically zilch. Shao Kahn was super cheap. Even if you did block that shoulder charge, there would be a lot of time for him to recover as there was a lot of pushback. Line it up with the fact that he would smash a hammer over your head and during the match he would taunt you. This guy was just trying to get you so incredibly frustrated that you would just press buttons and lose over and over and over. Shao Kahn, the living epitome of what frustration is in fighting game. He will literally keep doing the same stuff to you, make fun of you, and then most likely perform a fatality on you. Not only is this guy pure evil in terms of story, he does a gross amount of damage. Along with the hit stun he has, he can just keep opening you up and just crush you to your dust. Unlike Motaro, who has many tools, Shao Kahn only needs 2, his shoulder and his hammer. Sure, he has a projectile, but the hammer and the shoulder are the tools he uses the most to turn you into nothing more than a slab of meat. This boss fight will most likely lead to you clawing out your eyes. Oh, you want to press a button? Shoulder charge. Oh, you're going to defend? Shoulder charge. Oh, you blocked my shoulder charge. Shoulder charge. His tenacity to destroy you is relentless. That's why he's at number 1 on this list. And that's really it for this top 5s list, guys. Now please let me know in the comments below, which boss in Mortal Kombat has got you super salty? Like to the point where you either have broken your controller or have considered it, or snapping your disc in half. I've done that. Also in the comments below, please do let me know what other top 5s lists would you like to see that's Mortal Kombat related. I'm always open to talk about more Mortal Kombat. Now if possible guys, let's try getting this video to roughly about 500 likes. It's a great way of supporting this channel since YouTube is broken at this point. Not even gonna sugarcoat that. Now as always guys, please comment, like, subscribe and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care and I will see you all next time.